In Panama, more sectors joined the indefinite strike against the high cost of living, while the government convened a dialogue table with the mediation of the Catholic Church. In Colombia, a landslide at an elementary school in the department of Antioquia. Authorities reported that 19 children have been rescued so far. Sri Lanka's parliament announced that former President Gotabaya Rajapakse submitted his official resignation through an email. Hello, welcome to From the South. I'm Ana Marrero from the teleSUR headquarters in Caracas, Venezuela. We begin with the news. Stay with us. In Panama, various sectors of the country continue to join the indefinite strike against the high cost of living, while the government convened a dialogue table for this Thursday with the mediation of the Catholic Church. The National Nurses Association of Panama, ANP, joined the marches and mobilizations organized by several groups at national level. ANEP prepares speakers at lunchtime throughout the nation in solidarity with the current mobilizations the country experiences. The protest began on July 6 with a 72 hours national strike of teachers, students, and transport workers, which later became indefinite. Now they are joined by several indigenous peoples, producers, fishermen, doctors, and the Panamanian Construction Union. The United Nations has asked the government and the social organizations to reach the necessary consensus for a peaceful coexistence. In Honduras, the son of former President Porfirio Lobo Sosa and 3 other young people were murdered. The son of Lobo Sosa was Lobo Bonilla, 19-year-old. Among the other youth murdered was Luis Armando Zelaya Rivera, nephew of General Romero Vasquez Velasquez. The events occurred on Morazana Boulevard in Tegucigalpa, known as the living area of the capital, when Data had just left a nightclub at 2:30 a.m. local time. When the boys left the nightclub, they boarded 2 vehicles and upon leaving were intercepted by armed men who forced the boys to get out, and that is when they shot them. Vasquez Velasquez condemned the reprehensible act and called for a review of the security police. He also points out that it is up to 2 special police forces to give explanations about the incident, since according to the general, it had the characteristics of a military operation. In Haiti, the World Food Programme warned that violence between armed gangs and social crises are aggravating the food situation in the country. United Nations World Food Programme representative in Haiti, Jean-Martin Bro, said that the climate of political unrest is aggravating the humanitarian crisis, and at least 4.5 million people, almost half of the population, are going hungry. The official announced that gangs control main roads and block access to markets and humanitarian aid for more than 3.8 million people. On its part, the UN Coordinating Office for Humanitarian Affairs reported that violence has caused the forced place of more than 36,000 people in Port-au-Prince since June 2021 to this date. The president of Cuba, Miguel Díaz-Canel, held a virtual meeting with the presidents of the municipal assemblies and governors with whom he discussed the country's main priorities. In his speech, the head of state outlined the priorities of the economy for 2023, which will be focused on producing income to local budgets, as well as encouraging food production and housing construction. The management of innovation, science, and strengthening of state enterprise are also priorities. The president has called on the authorities to deal with credibility and productivity with the summer recreational plan, and also to guarantee the process of informing families about a new code. The Cuban head of state reiterated the importance of strengthening the support of state enterprises to the territories. This Wednesday, Bolivia's Minister of Justice, Ivan Lima, announced that complaints against the former de facto President Yanine Áñez for the Catan-Sicaba cases will be extended and at the request of the victims and their families. The Ministry of Justice has explained that the Victims Assistance Service is working to burden the indictment, although the office has already brought a genocide case against the former president. For Catan-Sicaba, victims and family members are asking that she also be prosecuted in the ordinary courts. They are currently awaiting a constitutional protection ruling that will pave the way for Áñez to be prosecuted in an ordinary trial for acts committed in the exercise of the presidency. Martín Hidalgo, a sworn witness and former deputy chief of special operations of the Argentina Air Forces during the presidency of Mauricio Macri, has implicated his government in smuggling arms to Bolivia for the 2019 coup d'etat. Hidalgo assured that they traveled to Bolivia in November 2019 with order of deliver any riot ammunition that finally ended up in the hands of repressive forces to whom several The Argentina military declared under the oath before Alejandro Catania, judge on economic matters. He was submitted to travel to Bolivia in an Air Force Hercules cargo plane in which he transported ammunition ordered by the Cuban of Together for Change government, certifying that the shipment was received by Commander Caliban. We'll take a short break now. Join us again after this. Welcome back to From the South. Brazil's Congress has just ratified an amendment declaring a state of emergency that will enable the federal government to increase welfare payment during the election season. The situation was considered illegal as it was interpreted as an attempt to buy votes during election seasons, although the left was unable to oppose the measure because they will be seen as if they were opposing the increase in social spending at a moment when millions are under the poverty line and are facing hunger on a daily basis. After the 2016 coup, the government dollarized fuel prices, which led almost daily price increases, which added to the situation resulting from the Ukrainian conflict. People believe that these actions is a ruse to try and cancel this year's election, which is only 90 days away, whereas others fear that with this measure, the rule of law is at stake. In Colombia, Landslide Barrio, an elementary school in the department of Antioquia, authorities reported that 19 children have been rescued so far. The governor of Antioquia, Aníbal Correa, described what happened as a painful tragedy and called for our efforts and capacities to be used in the integral attention of the emergency. For his part, the director of the Administrative Department of Risk Management of Antioquia, Diego Lopez, informed that 3 minors in the rural school have yet to be found and detailed that there are 100 people working in a rescue. Authorities reported that 2 of the minors trapped under the landslide died. One of them was rescued alive, but he died in the hospital of the municipality. The official also emphasized that the entire hospital network of the Southwest and relief agencies are deployed to support the attention of the tragedy. The heatwave sweeping across southwestern Europe was expected to peak in Spain, with blistering temperatures already falling wildfires across the Iberian Peninsula and France. The region's second heat this summer, the EU's forecasts to hit southern Spain with some of the hottest temperatures. The villages around 3 major rivers, the Guadiana, Guadalquivir, and Tagus, will experience temperatures of 40 degrees Celsius. The health minister told people to drink plenty of fluids, wear light clothes, and stay in the shade or air conditioning. The Andalusian city of Almonte saw temperatures hit 45.6 degrees Celsius, while several other soaring cities such as Sevilla and Cordoba recorded temperatures above 44 degrees. In western Spain, near the border with Portugal, forest fires have already raised at least 3,500 hectares. Former Finance President Rishi Sunak came out on top in the latest round of voting Thursday by Conservative MPs to replace British next Prime Minister. 5 candidates remain in the running to replace UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson after Thursday running of voting. Sunak won the support of 101 Tory lawmakers, followed by Penny Mordaunt on 83 votes. Liz Truss and 64, Kemi Banjed on 49, Tom Thunderhan on 32, and Suella Bramberman on 27, who drops out as the last place candidate, party announced. The next voting date is set to take place on Monday. Given the critical gas situation in Europe, the European Commission is preparing commemorating foreseeing the suspension of Russian gas deliveries this year. The alarm raised by Brussels on Thursday gives the fact that Russia is going to stop gas deliveries most European countries depend on. Moscow has explained that in view of the repair of a main gas pipeline, there is an alternative pipeline passing through Ukraine, but it will be up to Kiev to guarantee the safety of the installation. Although Brussels had not addressed the issue directly and has not publicly explained whether there are talks with Ukraine on the matter, it has made public a project that involves the use of renewable energies, limited heating and cooling, implementing market measures such as auctionings or the bidding systems, as well as rising one's consumer costs. However, experts say that Brussels' strategy, other data being brought, would not solve the crisis. In Turkey, the negotiations continued on grain export from Ukraine. According to Kremlin spokesman Dmitry Peskov, negotiations continue between Russia, Turkey, Ukraine, and representatives of the United Nations to safely allow Ukrainian grain exports, alleviating the situation of high world food prices. Another meeting will be agreed on the creation of a corridor for such as objective. A coordination center and a document will also be created to assure the safety of grain exports. After the meeting, UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres praised the efforts for safe food exports from Ukraine. And we have more news coming up after this final short break, so don't go away. Welcome back to From the South. The Parliament of Sri Lanka informed on Thursday that former President Gotabaya Rajapakse submitted his official resignation through an email. The Parliament spokesman Indranil Japar indicated that Rajapakse resigned after arriving in Singapore. He further noted that they must first verify the authenticity and legitimacy of the email before accepting it, adding that a formal announcement is expected this Friday. Rajapakse will be the first president to resign since Colombo adopted a presidential system of government in 1978. Under the country's constitutions, former Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe, whose resignation is also being demanded by protesters, will be automatically become acting president until Parliament can appoint a successor. Meanwhile, in Sri Lanka, the government demonstrators said on Thursday that they are ending their occupation on official buildings. A curfew was lifted at dawn on Thursday before being reimposed in the capital later in the day. Police beat back protesters overnight outside the national parliament. The main hospital in Colombo said about 85 people were admitted with injuries on Wednesday, with one man suffocating to death after being tear gas at a premier's office. Chinese State Foreign Minister Wang Yi said on Thursday that China and Cambodia have strengthened cooperation in many areas. Wang made a statement that at the sixth meeting of the China-Cambodia Intergovernmental Coordinating Committee meeting at Mainin, Wansi, Suana Autonomous Region. On his part, Cambodian Deputy Prime Minister Hord Namhon said his country firmly upholds the One China policies and supported Global Development Initiative, Global Security Initiative put forward by President Xi Jinping, and he wishes that the 20th National Congress of China's Communist Party succeed. Both ministers underscored that next year both countries will be celebrating the 65th anniversary of having established diplomatic relations. One said that China is willing to work with Cambodia in furthering bilateral interests as well as to contribute to prosperity in the region. On Wednesday, the navies of China and Pakistan warmed up a 4-day joint Navy exercise. The drill includes anti-submarine, anti-aircraft, and anti-missiles operations, and even a basketball match. The commander of the joint warship fleet, Chen Yuzu, said the two sides have increased mutual trust, deepened friendship, and enhanced joint combat capabilities through sharing combat situation, information and support. On his part, Pakistan Chief Naval Overseer of Commodore Sarit Mohus Sheikh said he would like to see such joint drills to continue in the future. teleSUR English continues to grow. The signal now reaches Europe, and you can order it from your cable dealer or tune it yourself. These parameters that you see on the screen are in place since July the 1st, and quite soon further changes will be implemented for the signal in the Middle East and Africa. Now, more than ever, the world connects to us, and our stories are being heard all around the globe. This news multi-platform that you see will continue providing trustful content to oppose the humanist media's narrative and our faithfulness to our audience. With that story, we have come to the end of this news brief, but you can find this and many other stories on our website at telesurenglish.net. You can also join us on our socials. We're on Facebook, Twitter, and on Instagram as well. teleSUR English, I'm from the South. I'm Ana Marrero, and thank you for watching.